Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Hey, life is hectic, but that doesn't mean your palate should have to suffer. Elaborate meals made easy today on Let's Cook. Hi, welcome to Let's Cook, where today we are making some elaborate meals, but they're easy. So let's just go over our menu. Today I'll be making a tomato leek soup. Then we'll be doing a cucumber and arugula salad. And then to take away that myth that some people have where they might fear preparing a rack of lamb, we're going to be doing a rack of lamb with some lentils and tornade potatoes. Really nice, easy menu that you could actually do for one by yourself because a rack is perfect for one, or you could do it for 20. But it's so easy. The first thing that we're going to make is we're going to make start our soup anyway, and we're going to finish it in the next segment, but it's so easy. Let me just go over the ingredients that we're going to be using to make our soup. We'll be using some tomatoes that have been peeled and deseeded. We'll be using some leeks, parsley, celery stalk, a little bit of tomato juice, some chicken stock, bay leaf, thyme, parsley, and cornstarch just to lightly thicken it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the soup going, but I need to show you something about thyme because we started the segment talking about thyme. Right here, I have some thyme. Now, this was thyme that was fresh that I bought in a supermarket. And a lot of times when you buy the thyme in a supermarket, you don't use it all. And you say, well, how do I do it? Do I freeze it? What do I do with it? Well, what you do with it is just leave it in a styrofoam, put it in a nice dry place in your kitchen, or tie it with a string. And then when it gets nice and dry, all you do is you take it like this and you just rub it together this way. And you see how all the thyme leaves go right on the plate there? So I can make my own whole leaf thyme as opposed to spending a lot of money for it in the supermarket. And also, this way, I know what's in it. So it's just a good way to do it because this soup will be using a little bit of thyme. Okay, now, the other thing I need to show you is leeks, something about leeks. I have some leeks here. And what I did is I cut these leeks into very short. They're about, just 1 inch long. And what you need to do with the leeks is you need to take the leeks, cut them down, remove the stem, and then you need to put them in water. Let them sit in the water, and then you take them out this way so that they're nice and clean because there's a lot of dirt in leeks. Then once you've separated the seams, it's very easy to take them, cut them down this way, nice and easy with your knife, turn them this way so that they fit on the spoon for the soup. We'll just cut them about 1 inch length like that. Very easily done. Now, the way we start our soup is, this is also very healthy too because we're not putting any fat in this. So we're just going to heat our pan. We can start with our leeks right in here. So we put our leeks in here. Just a little bit of leek in there. And a little bit of water. They're just going to sweat off there. So we start with our leeks. Then we have our parsnips that we're using. We also have celery. Now, I cut this celery kind of nice. Let me show you how I cut the celery because I kind of like how I cut the celery. What I did with the celery is I took it and I removed both sides. Then I cut it in half lengthwise this way. So I had a nice clean cut this way. Then with our knife, we did almost like an isosceles triangle where we cut it on an angle here, 45. Then we turn our knife this way and we just do this. So that this way it'll be uniform, it'll be decorative in the soup, and it'll also be a little different. Again, remember, easy, elaborate meals. So we're just tweaking this a little bit. Now all we do is we take this, we'll just stir this around a little bit. See how the bright color's coming out? Now I add a little bit of salt to this. Just a little bit of salt, no pepper yet. You don't need any pepper in there yet. Sweat these off. Once they change color and everything is beautiful this way, now I'm going to add my chicken stock. And I'm just going to let this simmer for about 20 minutes till everything's nice and tender. While it's simmering, this is when I would add my bay leaf. Now, when you buy bay leaves, if you don't have fresh, and a lot of times, let's face it, we don't have fresh, take the bay leaf and just crack it. By cracking it, you're really going to help to release those flavors. Just remember to remove the bay leaf when you go to serve it. And of course, thyme. Now this is fresh thyme, so all I'm going to do is leave it on the stem, drop the thyme in there. When I'm ready to serve it, all I have to do is remove the stem and the leaves will come right off. The other thing we have to do is we do have to add our tomatoes, a little too early yet. And we also have to add our herbs, and we're going to thicken this with cornstarch. But I'll show you that when we come back after this break, because right now we're going to take that little break, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious cucumber and arugula salad. Don't go anywhere. It's Elaborate Meals Made Easy today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where our theme today is Elaborate Meals Made Easy. Now, in the first segment, we started our soup here, and this is our leek soup, but it's a leek and tomato soup. So I have the leeks with some parsnips, a little celery. They're simmering. Everything is nice and tender. Now is when I would add a little bit of tomato juice there and my tomatoes. And all I'm going to do with this now is bring this up to a simmer. And then I need to thicken this with a little bit of cornstarch. So if you're ever working with cornstarch, you know that's called a slurry, where you take the cornstarch and you add just enough water or stock. If you wanted to use stock, you could, just to dissolve the cornstarch. Then you use it immediately. It should have the consistency of whole milk, or nobody's buying whole milk anymore, maybe 2% milk. So make it 2% milk. Here we are. Is that whole milk? No, that's 2%. So then what we do is we just drizzle this into this once it's simmering, just to give it a little body. Doesn't that look great? Just need to give it a little body there. Nice, fresh, wonderful flavors. And again, this is a very simple soup, and you can make this ahead and thicken it ahead. And all you have to do is reheat it a little bit. So that's now lightly thickened. Take a little bit of our herbs now and add our herbs to it. This soup is now good to go. All we have to do is make sure we cook that cornstarch flavor off of this. And you can serve this. Wait till you see how beautiful this looks in a bowl. So I'll just put some in a bowl there. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to show you while I'm here. A lot of people, I notice that a lot of people, when they go to work with a ladle, and the ladle is like this, they just have trouble working it. There's something with the elbow that's going this way. So what you can always do with your ladle is you can take your ladle like this, hold it onto counter, and you can just bend it a little bit, and you can have a ladle like this, and you might find that easier to work with for dishing up or working with. Just a little Paul tip today. So there's our soup there, our delicious leek and tomato soup. Now, the next thing we're doing is we're doing our salad, the arugula salad. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make my dressing. So to make my dressing, have a little bit of vinegar here, just a little white vinegar. To this, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And now I'm just going to drizzle in my olive oil, slippery oil there. Drizzle in the olive oil and whisk this just enough so that I have enough for 1 or 2 salads. Once I have this about this point here, we're going to add some herbs to this. Great. Now, I have my arugula right here. What I did with the arugula is I washed it thoroughly 3 or 4 times, and I picked through it, and I'm just going to use these nice ends right here, and we're just going to toss this into dressing very quickly, and then we can set this up onto the plate. Just need a little bit of flavor on here. We don't want to overdress the salad, but I do want the arugula to really be coated well. Now, the arugula, you know, it has a real nice peppery flavor. So when you dress this, just a little bit of pepper, that's all you really need. Take this, we toss this around, just so it's well coated, not overdressed. I'll set this up on my plate right here so it's right in the middle there. Then, take some onions, red onions that are finely julienned. Just add a little bit of red onion there. Don't worry, when they take the onion, they'll get the dressing. Next, and this is kind of nice, I have a cucumber right here. What I did with the cucumber is I peeled the cucumber, and then with my peeler, I take little thin, little tiny strips like this off this. See how easy that is? But you need a good peeler like this. Then we take our cucumber, little bit of dressing left here, toss this together. This now goes in the middle of the arugula with the red onion. So we build a little island there in the middle. Then I have some red pepper here now. The red pepper, what I did with the red pepper is I took and I cut away the seeds. And then what you do, you come to the edge of your cutting board, and then with your knife, what you're going to do is you're just going to cut and remove all of the ribbing from the red pepper. Save this red pepper, because what you can do is you can make a sauce with that. Cut this down this way, cut this down this way. Doesn't that look good? Then, once it's very thin, with your knife, cut this an infinitesimal amount, which means see how thin you're cutting it? Cutting it real thin, like this, real thin. Then you take these little thin pieces. I already have some here. You put them in ice water. And what they do is they curl up for you. So easy, they curl up. We take a little bit of this into the dressing as well, because we don't want it undressed. This goes right on top. See how easy that is? And then to serve this, croutons. Now remember when the first time you had white bread and you took it and you toasted it and then you put the butter on it and you melted it and then you ate it? That's what I have right here. Just some warm bread that I toasted and then brushed with butter to go with this. So we have some real nice differing flavors, textures, and tastes. We're going to take a little break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, I'm searing a rack of lamb. I'm going to make some lentils and potatoes to go with that. Elaborate meals made easy today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Elaborate Meals Made Easy. Now, I have a rack of lamb here. A lot of people are afraid of racks of lamb, or a lot of people have had lamb and they say, I don't like lamb because I don't like the flavor. Well, don't be afraid of lamb. It's very easy. And now in a lot of markets now we have, not the American lamb is a little more expensive, but we also have the Australian lamb, which is, it's more and more into the market, Australia, New Zealand, and it's a lot more reasonable, and it has less of a lamb or mutton or gamey flavor, so you might really enjoy liking it. Now, lentils and lamb just kind of go together. So let me go over the ingredients for this next dish that we're making. Basically, I'm using a rack of lamb. With the rack of lamb, we need a little olive oil to sear it. We're using some French lentils, not pink, but you could use pink. Some chicken stock to cook the lentils. Then we have some tomatoes, plain spinach, a little bit of parsley, and tornade potatoes. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'll talk to you about the lentils. These are my French lentils right here. And what I did with these lentils are much darker in color. They're smaller round, and they're delicious, but they take a little longer to cook. So I'm going to start these right away. To start these now, just going to take them right here and add a little bit of water or chicken stock to them and let them simmer until they're about 3/4 of the way done. Once they're 3/4 of the way done, then I'm going to add them to some of the juices from the rack of lamb to pick up that flavor, because lamb goes with lentils and lentils go with lamb. Next, I'm going to start to sear my rack of lamb. I have the rack of lamb here. Now, normally, you can buy this in a supermarket just like this. Nice, beautifully, see how beautifully trimmed this is? Nice and clean. I'm going to leave this layer of fat here because this is going to keep it nice and moist while I'm cooking it. And notice the size of the eye right here. It's very small. See, isn't that beautiful? So the fat is just going to keep that nice and moist, and you're going to pour off most of the fat anyway. So what we'll do is we'll just take a little bit of salt here, a little bit of pepper, rub that in, and now in the pan right here, I have just a little bit of oil, and I'm going to get that oil nice and hot, but because of the size of the layer of fat here, I'm actually going to start to sear this now. I'm just going to start it with, see the bone side right here? I really want to sear that, so I'm going to start with that side down just for a minute. Now, while that's starting to sear, let's talk tournée. A lot of people are afraid of tournéing vegetables. When I teach my students how to tournée, they get very nervous about it, but it's very easy because you're basically just peeling the potato. So if you get the small white potatoes like this, they're much easier to do because you're not going to waste that much, and they're easier to do. We just take our knife, we cut both ends off. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have our thumb here, and we're just going to cut and turn the potato as we go up and down this way. Then we bring it around to here. We come here, we go here. Whoops, go here. Now, if you miss that like I just did, do it again. And we're just turning the potato as we go. We want one straight line like this as we do the potato. And now these potatoes, we're just going to cook in a little bit of salted water, nice and separately, till they're just done. If you wanted to, and let's say, okay, Paul, this is an elaborate meal made easy, but you're making it difficult by this, then take your potato, cook it with the skin on like this. It'll be just as good. Don't be afraid to try it, though. Next, come over here. I take my rack of lamb right here, and I'm just going to turn this over, and I'm going to let this sear. Now, once this gets nice and golden brown, I'm going to pop it in the oven. Going to take my potatoes. I actually have to tornado a few more potatoes here. So I think we'll take a little break. I'm going to get this rack of lamb in the oven. I'm going to leave the rack of lamb in the oven for roughly about 15 minutes, based on how well done I want it. Let's take a little break right now, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you how easy it is to finish this rack of lamb with lentils today on Let's Cook Elaborate Meals Made Easy. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Elaborate but Easy Meals. Take our rack of lamb right here. We're going to remove it from the pan. It rested well in the pan. Now here, notice in the bottom of the pan here, I have some of the juices from the lamb along with the fat there. Now, this is something that has troubled mankind for centuries. How do I get rid of the fat? Very easy. We caramelize the fond, the pan juices, then we're able to just pour that fat off. So all I'm going to do is heat the pan up, bring it up as it simmers here. The juices are going to dry up, stick to the bottom of the pan. That way I can pour the fat away. The fat will be nice and clear. Then I can pick up the flavors of the meat or the juices. You see how it's starting to simmer there? While that's going on, right here, I have a saute pan, and I have my tourneed potatoes. I'm going to take my tourneed potatoes, put them into a saute pan here with maybe a splash of water, heat that up, hit that with just a little bit of salt here, a little bit of pepper, and just a little bit of butter here, just to coat them. So that's just going to give them a real nice flavor. Well, all we're going to do is let that butter melt and coat them. Next, let's take a look right over here. You see what's happening here? This is very crucial now. Now my juices are dehydrated and it's sticking to the bottom. I don't want to burn them, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lower my heat here. I'm going to get a very clear sizzling sound. You hear that clear sizzling? See how nice and quiet that is? Now all we do is we come over here, we pour off our excess fat, which is nice and clear. We leave the flavor of the juices behind there. I add my tomatoes to this. I add my blanched spinach to this. And we need the blanched spinach because we don't want it to be bitter. Then I add my lentils to this. These lentils are already cooked. There we go, beautiful. You take this now, just toss this around. Add a little bit of stock to this if you need to. Or actually, if you don't want to stay away from the stock, I even have a little tomato juice here. You could just add to that. We need to season this now too. The lentils, we haven't put any salt in them. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And we are almost good to go here. All we have to do is bring those lentils up to a simmer. Okay, there we are. Beautiful. These go right onto the plate right here. Doesn't that look terrific? Wipe this down. Then we have our nice potatoes right here. Now, if I wanted to, I'm trying to make this very simple. I could take the potatoes and I could have put them right in the oven with the lamb. We'll give about 3 potatoes right here. And last but not least, have our rack of lamb here, right here. And by the way, you know, a half a rack is plenty to serve somebody. Well, but we'll cut through. But you see what happens? Whoops, you might get caught on the bone there. But if you let it rest, see how nice and medium this is all the way through. This won't offend anybody. Sometimes I find that if I cook the rack of lamb and it's any less than medium, people get confused about it. But me, I love it that way. So here, we'll put our 2 racks right there, a half rack right there. Nice and simple and easy. Thank you for watching Elaborate Meals Made Simple today on Let's Cook. But the great thing about making a meal is you get to taste it before anybody else. Bye-bye for now. Have a great day.